Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Madcapper and this is another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Today I'm going to talk to you about Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss and the damage dealing position, or the poisoner as it is typically used for. I have a couple different scenarios that I want to put you through here, and the first one we're going to do is, so I use dual Occult Brawlers. Occult Brawlers is generally thought of as one of the best poisoners in the game. And the reason why he is one of the best poisoners is his kit simply makes for good poisoning. So I had to steal some preview. That guy's not being used. So here is my Occult Brawler that I use in my Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. I usually use both of them, but we're pulling one out so we can actually compare what is Occult Brawler going to do for damage versus another poisoner. And the damage that you are doing is largely from your poisons, of course. So your debuff accuracy is an important piece of the puzzle. You also, in order to just kind of improve your damage in Ultra Nightmare, you're just going to push their main stat, their main modifier stat. So when you look at your skills, what's the main stat they use for damage? In this case, it's attack. So I'm going to try to push my attack as far as I can by using an attack chest plate and attack boots. I can take this up to 6 or 16 at some point. I apologize that I haven't already. I just ran out of silver and I was re-gearing a couple to try to get things going, but this still gives you a pretty good idea at 2600. Now normally you'd build these things heavy defense to survive, but because we're doing this in an unkillable, it gives us an opportunity to push the attack and to push the crit rate and crit damage higher in order to get better end results. So this is the Occult Brawler. Just so we know his masteries, they're typical masteries I use for any of the poisoners where I use the set, and that is just to help me to get to the number I needed. And we're going down the accuracy side, and these two here, is this important? No, I probably could have went over here with one of them, but I just didn't change them up from when I first started using them. War Master obviously is just to increase that damage as much as possible. So there's the Occult Brawler, the reigning champion. As far as skill books, I do have him up to the second last. I could use, you know what? I gambled. I wanted the extra 5% and I ended up getting the cooldown, which is not optimal, but it's really not as bad as people make out. But that said, why don't we just quickly, we're just going to quickly give this guy one skill tome, get him to that max level. I mean, just so he has that extra debuff chance. Give him the best opportunity here in the clan boss. Okay, so that's done. So today his challenger is Kael. Kael is widely regarded as one of the best poisoners in the game. Certainly the easiest to get because he is one of the starting champions. If you start with Kael, you start with a poisoner. Now I had to wrangle a lot of different gear around. As you can tell from the beginning, I ran out of silver. So I apologize. This was 1.8 million silver to go from 12 to 15, and then I ran out. A little pissed off about that, but what can we do? Obviously I needed that accuracy, which is a nice accuracy roll to get him over 200 accuracy, and everything else again is just trying to get good. See, attack boots, attack chest plate, crit rate with good speed. I would have liked a better gauntlet, but of course I needed the speed there in order to keep him in the attack boots. So everything else is just about getting these stats to happen, which is a 3300 attack with just about 100% crit rate and a 151 crit damage. Again, that's just for the extra damage. The main thing, of course, is just to get his poisoning up, and that's to have his skills fully leveled, which this, of course, is. So he's got a 50% chance on that. Plus, he's going to land his 5% or his 2.5% every time he uses his A1. When the two go up against each other, and let's just see, hopefully the clan hasn't pushed me into, yes, good, I'm still in Void Affinity. Let's bring the team together. Of course we need our 2 unkillables, and we need our Doom Priest for the cleanse. Doom Priest, there you are. And then we're gonna make sure we get the right Occult Brawler. It's this guy. That was the top one, right? I will do this. No, it's the bottom one. The bottom one's the right one. Because the top one should have not enough speed. Okay. Oh, and the final piece of the puzzle, we're going to put in Kael. So here's your 5-man team that's going to go up against the clan boss and try to deal as much damage as humanly possible. And at the end of it, what we're going to have is a pretty good comparison between the two champions, the two poisoners, because they're both going to get equal opportunity to lay down their poisons and do their overall damage. So first we're going to need to set it up again. First turn, Sir Nick, running at 267 speed, is going to lay his Unkillable. Then we're gonna burn out his A2 Rush cards. We're gonna burn out. I mean, this is just to add damage. It's nice. We're gonna lay down the first poison. We're gonna lay down more poisons. Okay, round 2, we're going to use out Sir Nick's A2, and then we're going to use an A1 from Rosh card. Doesn't really matter the order you do that in. It's just not using the A3, obviously. And then here you're going to see pretty soon, you're going to see where they first see. Now Sir Nick has jumped in the order. He's actually going for the second time in the round. He can use his A1. And then Sir Nick, this is where he's using the second time for the round. So now they've officially gone through. So at this point we can hit auto. We're going to run it through, and it's good because I haven't used a key yet today. So I can do a full run and let it die out. And we'll speed it up. We'll play some funky music. White boy? I don't know. We'll play something. And then when we get to the end, we will be able to see which of the two poisoners is doing the better damage. So I will see you on the other side. Have fun.
Invincible.
Well, there you have it. Pretty definitive proof that the Occult Brawler is an absolute destroyer of worlds and of Kael's. Kael just could not keep up to the poison damage. Now, I didn't really pay close attention. There might have been a few resists in there. But even at the end of the day, there are not enough resists in the world for him to make up nearly over double the damage. Occult Brawler, that's by the way, is the best Occult Brawler damage I've received. That extra 5% made a big difference. Usually he comes in between 10 and 12 million per run. So I'm really interested to see if that puts him over 30 million. That's just a side note. But definitely Kael is not going to be able to poison as well as Occult Brawler in this sort of scenario. And that's something important for you to remember. If you were doing an unkillable comp, whether it's the Rosh Sir Nick or whether you got Man-Eater comp in there or a bunch of Painkeepers or however you have it, your Poisoner makes an absolute critical difference in your overall damage and how many keys you're going to need to use. We're actually going to try one more thing here. I've never tried it before and I'm curious to see what happens. So I'm going to stop the video. We're going to do a little finagling and then I'm going to see, I got to sell some artifacts so I can do this, get the silver to do this. And then we're going to see what happens when I put in my special guest. So stay tuned. We're gonna put him in soon and see if that makes a difference. See, maybe I already have the best kept secret. All right, everybody, we are back, and now it's time to introduce my special guest for today's run. I want to see how this works. I'm actually legitimately curious. I've never run this before. This is going to be a live blind test. And rather than running 2 Occult Brawlers, rather than running, of course, Kael, which you watched in the previous run, what would happen to the overall damage if I put my famous extender, Bulwark, into the mix? Now, I could even put him as a lead, I think. But I think that would affect damages too much. Curious as to whether that's the better option, is putting him as lead. Oops. Yeah, let's... This is going to totally ruin the run, and it's going to last 2 minutes. Okay, I'm trying to think of what negative there could be with him lead. Defense. Now, defense is only going to help him. Yeah, see, defense is only going to help him. It may target the stun on him because he's only got 25k health. So let's click on him to show you his stats here. He is part of a... He's already speed tuned in Nightmare prior to this, so he should have all the passive, all the masteries, or should be fine. But I did manage to get him in 4k defense, 195 speed, and 81% crit rate and some crit damage, and a huge amount of debuff accuracy. I want to make sure that there's all the greatest opportunity for this to, whenever he's attacked, 30% chance. So the key is will he get stunned? If I put him in the lead, I think it'll be more likely that he'll get stunned. But as I remember from the last one, Occult Brawler was getting stunned because he has the least health on this team, but now Bulwark does. So we'll see how this goes. My hope is that he targets Bulwark. We're going to see if the buff extension is better than having the double poison. And let's get into it. Okay, so let's set it up like before, and then we'll do the same thing as last time. I'll shut up, we'll mute me, and put the run up. Now, Bulwark is actually, these are two reasons. First of all, he has a burn, and that's a very underrated ability. It actually does a reasonable amount of damage. And he's got a weaken on him. So he has a smaller version of the weaken, but that's actually going to improve everyone else's damage ever so slightly. But hey, every bit of damage counts. So you know what? All he has to do is land that at some point, ever. And we'll see how that goes. I'm curious as to how this will go. I don't know, but let's find out. Same thing, I'm going to disappear. Going to let you watch this on auto sped up, and then we'll get back at the end of the run. We'll see you then.
Town, from London to Taiwan, I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
Welcome back. Due to some technical difficulties, I do have to mute my original recording here, but we're just going to talk a little bit about what we saw. Obviously, the damage was less than it was with Kael. The problem is in Bulwark's kit, and there is what I consider to be a bug. So first off, there are 51 rounds, I think actually 52 rounds if my math is correct, before the whole team dies. And if that's the actual case, then you've got about 16 times for each hit. I think it's actually 17. Anyway, so if it's 17 hits for each style, so that means there's 17 stuns, 17 of, we'll call it the A1, and 17 of the A2 of the clan boss. Now, under these conditions, every stun, except for 2, Bulwark only was stunned twice, he didn't extend either time, not surprising. In the case where he was under Sir Nicholas's protection, so there were 17 times he was under Sir Nicholas's Unkillable, and of those times, 16 times and 4 times he procced his extension. So there were 4 extensions under that, which is about 25%. So that's within reason. 30% is the average, so 25% isn't an unreasonable expectation or result. So that's fine. On the flip side, under Rosh card, so that's the remaining turns, which is about, well, we'll say 16 to 18, he procced 0 times, and I think that is a bug, because if you look at Rosh card's kit and you look at his A3, it specifically says that Rosh card the tower blocks damage, not hits, he blocks damage. And if you look at Bulwark's kit, his passive says that every time he's attacked, it has a 30% chance of proccing. So when you combine those two statements, it is clear to me that there is a bug here, because absolutely there should have been more than 0 times that it happened. So it seems to me that for some reason the code thinks that just because the Bulwark doesn't take any damage, that means he wasn't attacked, and so it's not proccing. That needs to be fixed. I'm going to submit it as a bug report, but the net result is a much lower damage output. Where he himself actually did okay for damage. It was the fact that the rest of the team should have done a lot more damage. Specifically, the Poisoner, I would have expected to see a 30% more in her poison, or his poison damage, which would have resulted in, well, he did 12 million, say 10 million of that, so another 3 to 4 million is in my head what should have happened and didn't. So hopefully they fix that and I'll be able to run this again, but in the meantime, Bulwark is absolutely not an option. What other options do we have? I want to give an Aothar a try. I want to give a Dracomorph a try, but I don't have a Dracomorph, so that's too bad for me. Also, Vizier and Septimus, have neither of them. But at some point, I'm going to have them, and I'm going to be able to extend buffs. Also, Arrhenius is a possibility that might be okay. I don't know how much it would really do, because that's a 4-turn cooldown on her extension. But it is an A1 that has the poison, so I'd be curious to see how that works. But I need her, too. I don't have her. So that's that. Hopefully this gives you some insight as to picking the right poisoner. If you have an Occult Brawler, do not sleep on him. He is the champion you should be using in this comp. If you have 2, use 2. It's absolutely way more damage. I want to thank you for joining me for this video. I want to thank you for putting up with me for 16-17 minutes, and hopefully you like the video and you give me a thumbs up and you subscribe and you tell your friends and you share it with everybody so that they can all see this. And most importantly, make sure you have a wonderful day today. Be kind to one another. I am out, and have a good day.